What's going on, guys? So we are back and we are inside of this brand new 2022 GMC Yukon Denali XL. We're going to take this out on the road today and I'm going to give you my driving impressions on how I feel about it. And with me, I actually have my wife and my youngest daughter. So you both want to say hi?
Hey guys.
And yeah, when she hopped inside the vehicle, she was just running all over the vehicle, having a blast and wondering how long we're going to have this one, because it has the captain's chairs. It has that center portion that leads you to the back. And then we let our youngest daughter in here and she was running around the same way. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're on the road with it. And, you know, right off the bat, what I can tell you just based on the feel, and right now the driving mode we have this set in is the normal driving mode. When I first hopped in it, it was set for, I guess, performance or sport mode, and I moved it to normal to see if it would change the driving dynamics in terms of the smoothness and the comfort on the road going over bumps and things. You know, compared to the Expedition that my wife has, I'm going to say it's very similar, maybe a little bit more on the firm side, would you say?
Yeah, definitely firm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was feeling.
Yeah, maybe more sporty might be a better way of saying it too, right? It feels like it could probably handle some turns and some aggressive maneuvers a little bit better, but at the same time, you sacrifice a little bit of on-road comfort. Now I want to see if my daughter wants to talk about it, but how does it feel in the back having your seat right next to the window?
Very good. I'm always in the middle.
But now you're on the side and you have a huge window, right? How about comfort? Is it more comfortable than Mama's car?
I would say they're the same.
About the same? Okay. Very nice. So, yeah, you're getting the full family perspective of this at this point. We're trying to let you know how everyone in the car feels, because oftentimes you only hear from me and, you know, there's other people that are going to ride in here. So my opinion on this vehicle is purely that, my opinion. And if you didn't know, once you're in a Yukon Denali, Starbucks is a thing. So we actually have to go there, and you can actually see that GMC Denali HD pickup truck leaving the drive-through line. So yeah, once you get yourself a GMC Yukon Denali or a Denali truck, you're probably gonna have to get used to drinking Starbucks coffee. So sweetie, whenever, you know, you first look inside of this vehicle, because, you know, you've had your Expedition now for, I'm gonna say about 2.5 years,
Yes,
roughly. And you have a lot of experience with that vehicle, maneuvering it, driving it, and just really sitting in the passenger seat a lot, because anytime we're together, she gives me the honor of driving her around. But, you know, in terms of, you know, your first impressions when you hop inside of this vehicle, what do you think?
It's big. So it's very roomy, very spacious. It looks, I don't know if it's the right word, corporate. It's not as fancy as, I guess I did a review on the Ram, and that one you can tell it had a lot of little bling here, a lot of little decorative, but it is pretty though. It's very pretty, very clean line.
When I was reviewing the outside, I kind of described it as edgy. It's very kind of edgy, and corporate's a really good way of saying it. This is the type of vehicle that you would probably pick up the president of a company in, right? Like when you're taking them to the airport or you're gonna get to a meeting or something like that. This is impressive in that level. And, you know, there's a reason why the government buys these things, because if you're gonna have a senator or a congressman sitting in the back, this is the feeling that they probably would have. Whereas the Ram, in my opinion, feels, it's what you would want to experience as maybe like a property owner, or as a family that just wants to get the fanciest looking truck you can get for your dollar. Is that a good way of comparing?
Yeah, more personalized, yeah. This one definitely, you can tell it's a lot more professional looking on the inside, clean.
Yep, and what my wife probably doesn't really know, or she doesn't pay attention to in the commercials, or the entire branding around GMC and the Denali line is professional grade. Yeah. That's their actual motto. So when she says professional, she really means it. This has that look. It has that executive look and feel to the interior. And when you get inside of this, the first thing that kind of hits your mind is, I guess it feels a lot Cadillac-ish. Right? Because the Cadillac Escalade is kind of the brother or sister of the GMC Denali. They're very comparable in terms of the types of vehicles, the setups, the interior. The Escalade being, you know, more of that, I guess, executive brand luxury vehicle, whereas the GMC feels more of that executive professional vehicle. It's very, very luxurious, though.
Yeah, definitely.
And we had a chance to drive around quite a bit last night in it as well. And, you know, first getting into it and kind of feeling the seats, feeling how everything is from a comfort perspective, you know, your Expedition, even though it's 2.5 years old, it's roughly the same price as this. It's not a huge difference in terms of one vehicle versus the other. But whenever you hop in this, how do you feel compared to your Expedition?
Yeah, I can tell that this would be a very good travel vehicle, like for a long travel. Very comfortable. So as soon as I got in, I was like, wow, this is big.
Yeah, and the screens we're doing, they're kind of fancy design work across them as well.
That was pretty neat. Yeah, that's really pretty. I mean, you can see it looks like almost like it's going to be a movie coming on.
Yeah. And, you know, from an overall size perspective, this is certainly longer than your Expedition, but it's pretty much the same width. You know, whenever you're sitting in the front, the way everything's laid out, a lot of this newer kind of interior design is built around this wider appearance. So everything kind of looks or feels stretched out width-wise. And you definitely get that sense in here. With your Expedition, it feels, honestly, it feels like you're getting into a pickup truck.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's probably just because it looks just like the interior of my pickup truck. So it gives you that overall feel. Now, from the back seat perspective, it's going to be a hard one to say because you have a bench row in the back and our daughter sits in the center on the Expedition, whereas in this vehicle, she has to sit in the passenger side next to the window because these are captain's chairs. So it's going to be hard to really tell the difference in terms of how that feels. I like the fact that both of the seats in the second row do slide back. And because of that, it gives you a good amount of leg room back there. But yeah, once my wife hops into the back seat or I hop into the back seat, I actually already sat in the back seat when I did the initial overview, but I'd like to get her opinion in terms of, you know, sitting in the back seat and how she feels about how much leg room there is back there, because oftentimes she's the one sitting next to our daughter in the back seat. So far, you know, hopping inside of this, what is the first thing that stands out to you?
The dashboard.
Yeah, the dashboard. It's got this really long dashboard that really nice stitching. You know, it's
pretty.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how far GMC has come in terms of evolving the interior of their vehicles, because I hate to say it, but for the longest time, even though they've always felt well built, they've always felt like they had good fit and finish to them, they always felt a bit dated. And this one doesn't feel dated at all. I mean, this feels very nice and modern.
Yeah, it does. It looks very, like I said, very clean, very professional, very real nice straight lines, but it's very pretty too as far as the stitching, the different tones on the color on it.
You know, one of the only things I'm not a big fan of is the little chrome bezels around like the temperature and the volume knobs. They feel a little cheap to me. They do. I've never really been a fan of this just plasticky feel of things.
They feel like they're super light. If it was to pop off, it'd probably weigh
a
quarter of an ounce.
Just like, yeah, it's just a tiny little piece of cheap plastic. It would have been nice if they maybe used a rubber kind of edge around it, so whenever you grab the knob to turn it, it felt a little bit more, I guess, upscale. You know, they don't look bad, and you know, they may actually be like aluminum for all I know, but they feel plastic. But again, I've pointed that out in previous videos, and that's probably one of the only carryover features I see in this truck versus some of the other vehicles that I've been in from GMC and Chevy. Okay, so I just grabbed the camera down real quick so you could see a few things. I like the navigation. It uses Google Maps, which is really nice. So it's internet connected, and you can actually put it into an offline map mode, which is nice. But here's what I'm talking about with these controls. Like, again, they don't really feel bad. They don't really look bad. They kind of blend in with this bright kind of chrome feel that you get with the front grille area and some of the other little treatments.
Yeah, they look real nice though.
Navigation's really nice up front. It's all integrated in really well. And again, this area up front is a full screen. But it is a really nice vehicle. And again, you can see what we're talking about with the dash lines all right here. The mirror is also really cool. This is becoming more and more popular in vehicles where it's a mirror if you flip this down, and then it's a screen if you flip it up. So you can actually see the vehicle that's right behind us. And the camera is actually positioned on the handle area of where the lift gate is. So on the pickup trucks, it's usually positioned on the rear center mount camera where that little light is above the bed. But on this, it's actually positioned right where the handle is, about midway down the actual lift gate. And the shifting on this is really interesting. So again, press P to park, R for reverse, N for neutral, and D for drive. And then if you're in low range, you can shift up and down manually right here, mainly if you're towing uphill or down grade and you want the engine brake to kick in if you're going down grade, or you need more torque when you're going upgrade. The camera angles are super, super cool. The feeling of the steering wheel is also really cool. One thing that I was kind of interested in finding out when I got this vehicle, if it would actually be equipped with a feature that you see on some of their newer trucks, the luxury models called Super Cruise, which was also available in Cadillacs, but there'd be a light strip across the top here if it was. And I'm not sure if they've actually brought that technology to the Yukon yet. I know it's in Cadillacs and I know it's in the higher trim GMC pickup trucks, but not yet on the Denali or the Yukon Denali vehicles. You can see it has the Tpms notification there. Tire pressure is a little low, but we've had some really cold weather and some really hot-cold fluctuations lately.
Yeah, so definitely on this dash, it feels really high. So I have my seat, so I am, you know, I'm not tall. So I put the seat all the way up, but it still feels like it's really, really high. Yeah,
I have to completely agree with that. Like if I'm pulling up to a vehicle, right now I have the camera positioned right about where my eyes are. And the whole hood, everything is so bold and aggressive and tall along with the dash, and you can see how it bumps up right here and kind of down right here. It feels as if you're looking over a large kind of hump as opposed to looking past it, if that makes sense. It's a bit tall, it really is, but you know what comes in handy in this situation are the 7,000 camera views that they give you up here. But again, you shouldn't really have to use these camera views to, you know, creep up. But, you know, pulling up to vehicles, you definitely get a good perspective of what's going on. Again, you do have to kind of adjust your seat accordingly and adjust where you're sitting to be able to feel that you can actually see over the hood clearly. You know, a lot of truck manufacturers, SUV manufacturers are kind of dealing with that, but you know, your Expedition, you really don't deal with that. It seems like it slopes a little bit more. Yeah. Anyways, we're about to place our order, so we'll be right back. So one thing I wanted to show real quick is as we pull around this drive-through, there is a concrete barrier right here, but I love the views that you get with this Denali because look how close I can actually get to that curb, and look at the positioning it shows the truck actually curving inside of here. Now, this is nowhere near as wide or as long as my truck, so it's going to be a different challenge because this is, again, narrower and not quite as long. But it's so cool to be able to see exactly how you're, you know, executing a turn here. And why this is important is because this just shows how clear and high resolution these cameras are. I mean, that is insane that you can actually see that perspective that well. It's nowhere near as good on my truck, and I'm sure Ford and Ram have improved, but that is still really awesome. This looks like a true, you know, top-down view, which it's always been pretty good in most vehicles, but this is probably the best that I've ever seen.
Yeah, very detailed.
Yep, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on the screen here so you can see it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, the clarity is amazing.
All right, let's get our order. All right, so I got the family all equipped with coffee. Actually, my wife does a peppermint mocha frappuccino, and my daughter in the back does a vanilla frappuccino, and I make myself coffee in the morning, so I make my coffee at the house. All right. I for some reason can't really drink Starbucks coffee. It upsets my stomach. It gives me a headache.
It's addicting. It's good.
Not to me. If I drink that stuff, I'll be down for the day. But yeah, we're gonna be in this thing for a while. We got to do some pickups, some curbside stuff, and there's a previous generation Escalade right there, same length. That's the extended version.
But I wouldn't mind having one of these. I love the space. I don't know why. I know I'm small, and but I love big vehicles.
Yeah, she does. When I first met her, she had a Nissan Armada, and her tiny little self hopping into that Nissan Armada was kind of funny, actually. And yeah, and that big old Armada definitely looked like it was a coat that was too big on her.
Yeah, but I know how to drive the heck out of these trucks.
Now, this street is an interesting street because instead of repaving it, they converted to concrete, and there's expansion joints everywhere. When they first redid this street, it was extremely rough with any vehicle. It seemed as if, you know, nothing had really settled. It's gotten smoother over time, But this is always one of those really good roads to drive on if you want to kind of feel and test out the dynamics of the vehicle. And again, I get the luxury feeling, I get that dampened ride, but it does feel quite a bit firmer than yours. Yours feels like almost like it's floating over this road, yeah, whereas this one feels, again, it feels more kind of leaning towards like a BMW, where it's designed to give you more of a driver's feel to it as opposed to just pure, you know, floating. Mercedes versus Lexus, that's probably the way I would say it. This feels more like a Mercedes, yours feels more like a Lexus. Okay, so I found the coolest road to drive down. Check this out. This is like pothole central. It's crazy. Check that road out, and we're gonna drive down this. So, one of the first things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the driving mode into off-road. I'm gonna hit the height adjustment, and we are actually increasing the height right now. It's already doing that just because I put it in off-road mode. And let's see how it does. First of all, I want to put some cameras on because this would be kind of cool. We got some cameras on. I don't know how large these potholes are, but we're about to find out. That's not too bad. And that one's kind of deep. Another big pothole. There's a big one. There's a big one. Here's a big one right here. Whew. All right. Actually, this isn't really bad at all. The suspension got really soft, didn't it?
Yeah, it took it very well. Super soft.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going through this in my truck. My wife would probably be kicking me out of the house. Hey, look, this course continues on.
Yeah, this is pretty bumpy back here. Parking lot, the back, what we just went through was what, an alleyway?
Yeah. Feels like an off-road course.
Oh, this is so bad.
All right, so that was easy.
Wow, very nice, very cushiony. I mean, it didn't even feel like you were going through those potholes.
I'm gonna leave it in off-road mode because the suspension got really soft, didn't it?
Yep.
Like,
I mean, look at that. You
yeah.
just went over that speed bump and just nothing.
Cool. Okay, so we're actually going to be getting onto the expressway real quick so we can see how it feels, at least the driving dynamics over, you know, faster highway speeds. And yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of road construction going on here, as you can probably tell. So we're going to definitely get an opportunity to see how this feels in that environment. I have a feeling it's going to feel really nice and smooth. Okay, so, you know, acceleration, it's always interesting doing acceleration reviews because these aren't race cars. They accelerate on on-ramps, interstate speed as fast as you'd want. They accelerate around vehicles when you're passing as fast as you want, probably much faster than you would ever want to or need to. You know, it's a very, very capable vehicle in terms of speed. But the thing to keep in mind is, you know, these aren't race cars. And that's probably the number one thing you always want to kind of point out to someone who wants you to race one of these. They're designed to be quick. They're designed to have the power you need to get you up to the speed you're trying to get to be able to overtake vehicles if you need to. And but overall, they're designed to be comfortable luxury vehicles that give you a lot of capability in terms of utility, you know, people hauling capability, and most importantly, safety. So, you know, they really accomplish that. I mean, right now it feels really nice and comfortable. How do you feel?
I like it. If you can tell, it's super awesome for a long drive. Very nice, very smooth. The cushion, the ride is very cushioned. Yeah,
we put it in off-road mode, and we kept it there because the ride is actually significantly smoother in off-road mode. It really makes the suspension nice and dampened, really compliant. It's just such a really different vehicle whenever you put it in off-road mode. And they should probably have a kind of in-between mode called luxury mode, because that's kind of what this feels like right now. It's a lot smoother. I would actually say it's smoother now than your Expedition. Yeah, it is. It feels a lot smoother. It's a lot quieter. I like that when you were accelerating, you can hear the motor, you know, because you're accelerating, but it wasn't really loud. And on mine, you can hear a lot of the road noise. But yeah, a lot more quieter. I like it. Yep. And if you hear a little tapping in the video, that's just the child seat. It taps sometimes and makes some noises. But yeah, very, very nice. Anyways, yeah, this is our driving impression on this thing. You know, for the most part, this is how most families, I think, would use it to run their errands, do the things that they got to do, drop the kids off at school, pick the kids up from school, load up on stuff whenever they're using curbside, and just use it as that type of a vehicle. All right, so we are in the next drive-through lines. This is actually a Mexican restaurant, really good one too, but we're gonna order here. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Sweetie, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a review on this Denali, so I can, you know, just go through all the back seat and the back, of course, because whenever I buy groceries, I usually put everything in the back. So other than that, yeah, just take a look at my channel, and then I'll be doing a review on this a little bit more thorough. I haven't been able to, you know, really take a look around just the driving impression right now that we're doing.
Yeah, so, you know, if you want a female's impression on this type of SUV, and, you know, especially the fact that she has an Expedition as it is, and she's had an Infiniti, the large QX before that. She had a Lincoln Navigator, the Armada. What other, you had a Durango. Am I missing any? She even had a Chrysler Pacifica minivan for like a month. But yeah, she's had a lot of vehicles, so she's going to give you her impression on an SUV like this. And quite frankly, a lot of women buy big SUVs like this, right? Yeah. So it's good to understand what to look for, and she's going to give you her her overall impression of it. Because, you know, there might be a lot of technical details related to the engines and stuff like that she might not care about. What she does care about are practical things that make sense to her and that she can use every day when she's driving the vehicle and owning it. So that's going to be her view on this, which is really awesome. Anyways, guys, I'll put a link to her channel in the description of this video so you can check out her page. Please subscribe to her channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't had a chance. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon on my channel.
Bye, guys. It was fun. Subscribe to Dad.